Hey guys, what's up? Justin here with TheraFit Rehab, and today we're going to be talking about braces and what you can do to make sure that you minimize your risk of getting blisters with these things. Alright guys, so we see tons of patients that have to wear these types of devices. So these are great for things like keeping your foot from dragging, your toe from dragging when you're walking. They're great to prevent knee hyperextension, so if your knee likes to whip back when you're walking, these are great at helping to prevent that hyperextension at the knee. And then they also just add a lot of stability through the forefoot. So this is kind of like your typical AFO. It's also known as an ankle brace or an ankle foot orthosis. And these are usually prescribed to people, and the CPO, or the prosthetist or orthotist that prescribes them, they usually do as good of a job they can at the time that they fit them, but some of the things that happen afterwards can lead to blisters and things like that. So especially when you're getting a new one of these, it's important to look at the risk factors that can come after. And they usually tell you when you get the brace to check it every like 15 minutes, make sure there's no prolonged redness, wear a little bit longer. They give you a wear schedule, which is great. But today we're going to be talking about past that wear schedule, what can you do to decrease your risk of getting a blister? Because blisters can lead to the inability to wear the brace, which is not good because it can lead to increased falls. It can lead to your inability to walk properly. So if your therapist is teaching you how to walk, and then all of a sudden we can't wear the brace because of a blister, then we're kind of regressing back to square one, where we're trying to teach you how to walk a certain way with this brace on, but then when the brace is off, you kind of resort back to your old style of walking, which is inevitably what we're trying to get away from. So the braces are great, but we're going to be going over some of the things that you can do to make sure that the braces don't give you blisters. So number one is wear proper shoes. So when you're picking out a brace, it's important to consider that the brace is going to be much wider than your foot. So you want to make sure that you get a good solid shoe that adds a lot of stability along to the brace, but that is also a little bit pliable and about a size larger than the shoe that you usually wear, to a half size. You want to be able to take the brace with you and try it on, and make sure you get like a really good shoe to go along with the brace. If you have a bad shoe, what can happen is, especially if this is pulling the front of the shoe, so it's like pulling the shoe open, then it can lead to a lot of pressure spots on the top of the foot, mainly at the bony parts of the foot, like the top of the big toe and the outer edge of the pinky toe. So those are two spots mainly that shoes help to cause blisters. So you want to make sure that you're getting a good solid shoe. New Balance makes some good shoes. They also make wide shoes, so you want to make sure you're looking to get one of those wider shoes when you're looking at getting a shoe for this brace. So great, so the next thing is brace placement. So a lot of our blisters, they come from the heel not being all the way inset back into the brace. And there's a couple of great things that we can do with this. And typically what I do when I set somebody up with an AFO is we get their foot into the position where the heel's all the way back, and then we'll just take a little marker and just at the top of their toe, draw kind of on the brace where their toes should be. And if their heel isn't all the way back, then their toes are going to be past that point, and it's going to give us a really good indication of, hey, this isn't in the right spot. Either start over again or try to get the heel further back. What I really like to do is, which is also step number 3, is going to be relax that muscle tone. So I like to bend the knee, and then I put the heel up against the back end of the brace, and then I'll push the heel down into the brace, and then I'll do this top strap, the bottom straps if they need them, and then I'll tie the shoe. And there's a couple of good tips. I like to wiggle the back of the brace to get the shoe to get the brace to sit into the shoe. So it's a really good tip. Just wiggling that back heel helps the heel to slide into the shoe a little bit easier, because AFOs are just ridiculously hard to get on with shoes. So another good tip, number 4, is going to be make sure to keep it dry. So in the summertime especially, we get a lot of people that are sweating, and the sweat creates moisture. The moisture along with the skin and all that friction will help to increase blisters. So you want to make sure that you're taking the brace off when you're starting to get sweaty. If you don't have great sensation on your foot, then you want to make sure that you're doing it, like monitoring it over the course of an hour. See how often. Maybe it's like once an hour, just take your shoe off. If that's enough, let it dry out, and then put it back on. I know it's annoying, I know it's a pain, but blisters are more annoying and they're more of a pain, and they impede your ability to walk and do things properly that you would normally do. So take care of yourself, make sure that you're looking at that. So the next thing is going to be, want to inspect your socks. So a lot of times when people put their braces on, they do it quickly, they do it in the morning, maybe a caregiver's just throwing it on, and you don't realize that the socks are balled up in one spot. And even if just the top of the sock is just not quite on all the way, then it can create a lot of pressure on the top of that foot. And for a foot that doesn't have a whole lot of good blood circulation, maybe we have some sensation issues, this can be a huge problem. So you need to make sure you get that sock on nice, that it's crisp, it's clean, there's no big balls of material inside of it that's impeding the way that the brace should be going and impacting how much pressure is going onto that foot. So the next one is going to be reduce swelling. So a lot of times when we get the braces on, especially if you get them on in the winter than in the summer, all of a sudden you start getting a lot more swelling in your calf or your forefoot. So we want to try to reduce that. And if long socks isn't enough to kind of compress and reduce that, there's a couple different options. You can call up your local physical therapy clinic or your CPO, the person that made the brace for you, and they can actually heat. This type of brace, at least, is moldable, it's pliable. We can heat it up and we can open it up a little bit to allow for some of that swelling. But immediately you should be looking at a compression garment to try to impact the amount of swelling on the brace, to try to limit that, because a lot of times that swelling can create more pressure points. Anywhere that we're creating a lot of pressure is going to increase the amount of blisters that we can get. So we got two more. The next one is going to be check your feet regular. So just make sure that you're getting your feet checked regular. Every night before you go to bed, it's a good thing to just take your shoe off and look at the bottom of your foot. Look at the sides of your foot. If redness is lasting more than 15 minutes, that's a problem area, and we need to get it looked at. Which brings me to my last one. My last tip, my 8th tip, is make sure that you're getting it checked regularly. You should get this brace checked once a year by your physical therapist or your CPO, your certified orthotist and prosthetist. So if you're not doing that, what can be happening is sometimes the brace can get wear down and you'll impact the cushions that we've put in here to allow for your foot to have some comfort. And the other things that can happen is, again, your foot might be more swelled from year to year, and we can create pressure points inside of the brace, which leads to, again, blisters. So make sure you go into your physical therapist or CPO once a year to get the braces checked, and make sure that there's not a better brace for you, because a lot of times, and again, this is nothing against anybody else, but we get patients that are in the wrong brace. So some of our patients, I like this articulating brace. So the ankle moves back and forth. That way they can simulate a normal gait pattern. Like your ankle moves when you're walking. So it's good to have a joint that can move sometimes. Or maybe there's not enough stability on the back end and it's allowing too much give in the brace and it's allowing you to hyperextend your knee. So there's different things that we can do with this brace that can help you walk better. And a lot of times I like to try to get people out of the braces. So we're trying to walk out of a brace. So maybe we start with something a little bit more restrictive, like a solid ankle, and then we can move to an adjustable ankle, and then we can move to like a posterior leaf spring, which is a lot less support, and then we can eventually move to an SMO and then walk out of a brace without anything. So that's the ideal circumstance, the ideal solution. But again, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to get some input back from you guys, so just drop them in the comments below. If you have any questions, I will answer them. Just post your questions below, and hopefully you found this informative. Thank you. Have a good day.